Check. I think this is fine. Oh God, I need to sort out some stuff. Uh, right. Hello everyone. Uh, Sorry, I'm just kind of sorting things out. Also, it's Sunday, so I don't expect a lot of people to be on here. But we're gonna stream regardless because this needs to happen. Right, so I'm just kind of setting up in the background. I almost forgot, like I genuinely forgot that I have to stream. So that was a thing that happened. So where is the setup? Setting. Okay. How you guys doing? I see like 2, 3 people in here. Also, my monitor broke. Um, I think there is an issue with the power supply on that. So I opened up a support ticket. Sorry, but I just set up things in the background. I'm hoping they repair it timely. Otherwise, it's just a sad thing to have happened, especially right now. With Yacht's launch, with like a bunch of changes happening, all of that stuff. So yeah, I think we should be okay to get on the stream. And let's up over here. How you guys doing? How you doing? How you doing? Also it's a Sunday, so I don't expect a lot of people on here, honestly. It's a weird schedule. But this could also be the last stream in a little while because I need to figure out god of a lot of stuff. Let's see, accessibility, general, automatic chart updates. I hope I didn't mess up stuff in the back. But yeah, how you guys doing? I know it's a Sunday. What you guys up to? Am I in the background? Also, I might open this. I need to pull from the repo wishlist. Sorry, I'm just pulling stuff in the background, which I should have done a little earlier, but the reason why I couldn't do this, Next.js, I think yep, this is the one. For, yeah, we can open on this. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just setting up things in the background. Also, like, I look very weird because I've been tired. I haven't slept. I've just been focusing on Yacht a lot. By the way, if you don't know, Yacht is my public app that I'm submitting tomorrow. And so there's been a bunch of like really good feedback on it. And I'm particularly happy with how it's coming out. Uh, I am working on a video where it's just like, hey, this is why Yacht's great, and this is what you should actually copy from it. And it's a literal video of, hey, this is how I'm doing this, and you should copy this concept. Not a blatant copy, but like, hey, here's the concept to copy. Uh, which I feel would be really great. Customers too, I guess. Like others. Update this to 10. Okay. Let's see. Live. Mr. Store. Okay, yeah, I think we are good to go. Oh yeah, I also need to bring it up to speed with my actual repo because there's been quite a lot of changes between when we last updated this versus the on install. And yep, I am almost ready to share my screen. OBS. There you go. And I will have to update some stuff because you can't see the entire screen. uh, Properties. No, not properties. Filters. Like that. What's this? Oh yeah, OBS is hidden by default. So it's like, but I am using OBS here, which is like it's such a good feature and like God bless whoever thought that hey we should do this. So like I can have OBS open, but you never see it, which could also be a bad thing. But okay. Okay, this is time. Run pg create, run pg start, run express pg push, and clear run dev. So we can do this. And the first thing I have to do is actually bring it over to all of the newer changes. Also, if I miss out on chat, please let me know. Why is this not opening up? PRBE equals to. Nope, it hasn't updated my ENV. But I did run update config. Oh, I see. Okay, I need to hide my screen. I am sorry. It's sorry. I need to add all of the right permissions. I completely forgot about that. Apps. I think it was, yeah, it is this app. I think I can share screen now. Yeah. Let's see. Protected things. So it won't let me push any of the config because I need to fill this form out. Right. Now it should let me do what I want to do. Yep. Okay. Uh, this should work now. Of course. Now we want to see this, which is great. Okay. So everything's working as expected now. Let's update stuff. Run update. I also need to head in to the last changes I made because there's a bunch of improvements that happened across the board, particularly in the developer section. If it decides to load today, okay. So we have this. Actually, we can just copy up the entire thing because it's in the env example anyways. Oh, right. Of course. Copy, paste this. And what I can do for my actual env is copy my API scopes, copy, uh, not that thinkable. Let's copy this. And outside of that, I think we are good on this end of things. For my Toml and webhook writer, I actually pushed out an update that lets you update quite a lot of stuff. Does it even have a webhook writer? Okay. I was gonna be very irritated if it didn't have one, because that would mean we are really far behind. Okay. NMVS code snippets. I need to not overwrite the posting yet. This should be done. What all changes did I actually make? Because I migrated all of my other stuff. Uh, yeah, GDPR. So very weirdly, I don't know how I never noticed it. A lot of people who use it never noticed it. I think they just assumed that whatever I push out is correct, which is like, thank you so much for that. But I make mistakes too. And the mistake here was I didn't add in a return statement or a try catch block. Catch the console dot error and error occurred at slash API slash GDPR slash customers data request, which is e dot message, comma, and then return rest dot status 500 dot send error true. And the reason why we are adding in send message is because otherwise it would just walk out. Next doesn't really like it. Okay, let's make it customers with that. And this is shop with that. Okay. Uh, Actually, let's see the commit details because I know for a fact I'm missing something. What did I change in Shopify.js? Right. I added a new types file. So essentially, the reason why this update is very amazing, and I've been working on it for a little while. Uh, a lot of people ask me why I'm not updating, like bringing in any major updates to any of my boilerplates. I was dealing with some issues where I was told straight up to be like, listen, just don't push any content out. There's already enough trouble unnecessarily, by the way. But yeah, I am just glad that we have that sorted. Okay, all of that's not required. This goes in. So let me show you what this update actually does. And oh, this is such a beautiful thing. So let's say you're here, right? Let's comment this out. And you're like, hey, I want to add in a new webhook. And you're like, So we do topics. And I know what I want the URL to be slash API slash webhooks slash orders. And I want the callback to be orders handler, right? This is how we write it. And so now what we're going to do is if it's a webhook that we don't know of, we go to the Shopify page. We're like, hey, this is the subscription topic. But now you can just do this. And you're like, hey, I'm looking for orders create and I am looking for orders updated, right? And it's just that easy. So there's autofill on this now, which is insane. And it's a very simple thing. All I'm doing is I'm assigning the type of the array here. And then there is an object called webhook topics with a property called topics, which actually just contains all of this in a string. Now, if you want to know how I get all of this stuff, you can just directly visit shop utils. I think this is the base. Yeah. So shop utils is one of my other repositories where I just throw in a bunch of the stuff. So if you were to head into types, just get into the folder name. I do both JS and TS. These are mostly correct. This is not accurate to down to its like last this thing, but this is mostly correct. And so what ends up happening is you get a lot of help here itself. Use webhooks. So let's say you're creating a new webhook, right? Let's call it new webhook.js. And so this is how you create a new webhook in any of my repos. Because obviously I want this entire thing to be as painless as possible, right? So because I'm the biggest user. So if it makes my job easier, it's going to be making a lot of people's job easier. You write create webhook, you hit enter, it gives you a baseline. You call it new webhook handler, for example. And let's actually make it a orders create handler, right? And you hit tab and it takes you to the topic name. You can just write orders underscore create. And so you have that there. And then now console.log webhook body dot gives you all of the webhook types. So if it's a string, it could be null, or if it's an array, like for example, customer dot, I think it's what first name, and then you have last name, you have the default address. So a lot of these things are just immediately available, which like they make my job easier. And very weirdly, a lot of people don't realize that this is actually in here. And once they realize that they can't use anything else. And yes, I'm going to be bringing all of this to the Remix repo too. So if you don't know, I'm also looking into Remix. Yeah, it's weird. I remembered all of my URLs. So if you don't know, I'm actually actively looking into Remix. Last update was September 19th, 10 days ago already. Okay. Uh, so yeah, all of this is actually going to be coming over to Remix too. So my Remix boilerplate, I'm hoping I can finish it out as quickly as possible. So that's there. But now let's actually come back to the app because I honestly don't remember what we did last time. So now back to Shopify.js. Let's just see what all we have changed. We have updated ENVs. We have updated Akash with the latest this thing. We have updated snippets. The Toml writer, webhook writer, added this. Fix the GDPR stuff. Okay. Clear, bun run pretty. Bring in updates from the piece boilerplate, git push. All right. Ah, now, set of blocks. I think I had a. Were we working on the theme extension? I think so. Maybe, I guess. Oh no, it was apps wish list. But we can always change it. What did I add in here? A wish list. Okay. So not that big of a deal. I would also need. Actually, I don't even. I genuinely do not remember what we did the last time. So I'm just gonna quickly take a look at uh wishlist live apps. All right. Add ability to save product. But did we actually create routes? API wishlist. Okay, we did create a route. We updated the proxy for something. Okay, we got the wishlist and product. Find a wishlist. If it's default, okay. If there's no wishlist to update, no wishlist found. But if there is a wishlist to update, create a default wishlist. Why am I putting name and email has not logged in? Oh god, I think I'll need to go back to the previous view and check what I was actually doing here because I do not remember. But okay, I think if I take a look at the schema and what we're looking at, we should be fine. Trend code, we're not using that, customer and wish lists. So a customer can have multiple wish lists and a wish list can have multiple wish list products, which can have which can be assigned to multiple wish lists. Okay. I think I can just make it simpler. But we can add ability save a product is done. I'm just thinking because I think I also created a to do. It's weird this repo doesn't have a to do because I usually have a okay, it's to do to do to do. Okay. I think we created let's go to these. I think somewhere we created a thing. It's actually not even here. I should just add a new one. Let's actually name it by wishlist app. I think I'll just create a new store and have it all there because this is my proper test store that I run like a lot of tests on. So also copy this. Also, it would be nice to have wishlist ID in here. But if I don't have a wishlist ID, I can just be like, hey, you don't even have one. Products, product, add a block, press custom liquid. Just above the buy button, let's throw this in, and add to wish list. Now, in order to make it like actually follow all of this, you're just gonna copy the classes for buy it now. But in this class is this. I think this yep, this should make it look good. Yep, that's what we're looking at. So let's publish this. Let's preview this. So open up one of the products, posticle. Oh yeah, I want a completely different monitor, so things are way smaller than what I'm used to. And it is not. I thought we had something to do. A wish list. Add product is a 404. And why are we throwing a 404? We shouldn't throw a 404 because obviously something is being parsed. Okay, let's start this. This should work. Test dot a wish list. This should be empty, but when it's slash what? Prefix is a, subpath is wish list. Oh, okay. I see what could be happening. Where is apps? What could be happening right now is our wishlist app is still okay. A wishlist because I'm also using the same app that I was using for oh, come on, you should be working now. Okay. So which means now this button shouldn't throw me a 404. It throws me a 200. Okay, so that's good. It should have created a new wish list, which is what we got. Customer ID is still blank, but we will be allowing this soon enough. And this is there. Okay, so that makes sense. But also what change I want to do is in add product, instead of just writing the product in variant IDs, we're gonna do this and we're gonna be like, hey, GID, Shopify product. And this becomes wait. I hope I'm doing the right thing because I am usually messing this one up. So let's run a quick GraphQL call. If you don't have a graphical installed on your store, just Google it and install it. It is like super handy as a tool. So you can just kind of run GraphQL queries on your store directly. Also, we are on 2410 now. There's going to be a query for products. First 10 edges, nodes, node. I need ID, I need variance. First one, I guess. And then this. I think I can just instead do this. This would be faster. I don't know why, like, if it's my internet or like what's happening, it just is pretty slow. Yep. Wait. Oh yeah. Edges node ID. So the P is indeed capital, and this would be the capital too. And we'll be doing the same thing for this. Okay. So we're gonna go to post-call, we're gonna delete this entry, and we're also gonna delete this entry, and we're gonna add it to wishlist again. And this time it throws a 404. Why would we do that to me? It just worked. Why no remix and why Next.js instead? So here's the thing. I've been using Next.js for forever, right? So the default go-to that I have almost always used is Next.js, right? Now what ends up happening is when you're using a stack for years, you do not want to switch because you have actual users, which is a foreign concept to a lot of people. And when you have a thing in production, you cannot just switch a stack because something new came along. You are on Next.js. For fuck's sake, why is it back to being, sorry. Uh, you cannot just swap stuff around, right? So what ends up happening is you are then looking at, hey, so I have Next.js right now, and I'll eventually be moving on to Remix. Oh, no, wishlist file. But this would mean that there is something that I am missing up on because I didn't clear the database properly. Custom. Okay. Uh, this is a better thing. Right. So with Remix, I did show this. I am working on a Remix template. In fact, I am migrating from Next and into Remix. So here's the thing. You cannot expect me to change stacks overnight because I am really good with the stacks that I work with, right? My boilerplates and all of that stuff is a good example of what happens when you truly understand a framework. Now, what's happening is slowly I am warming up to Remix and I'm like learning all the stuff and like making a bunch of changes. So, all of these fixes are coming in, a lot of finalization are coming in, all of this is happening. So, what ends up happening is you're slowly migrating into Remix, but on the back end, I still need to support Next for like another 5 years at least, right? So I can't move away from it. Besides, the whole concept of doing this, right, is to build it with Next, then build it with Remix Express, and then build it with Remix. So the entire idea of doing this entire project was so that I can build the same app in 3 different frameworks, have it out there, and like for you guys, you get to see all of this live development and like me struggling with a bunch of stuff and me figuring out a bunch of stuff. I already get enough messages that a lot of people who use my boilerplates didn't know that snippets existed, which is like weird because I was just showing this. So you can, instead of writing everything manually, you can just write create proxy and it's just done, right? Like bam, you just like start writing your code. It's that easy. You can't do this on the official boilerplate. So it's like remix is happening, but it's happening next year for me. Because what's going to happen is from today till 31st of December, I am evaluating, like, I'm not only learning Remix, but I'm going deeper into it with how the entire framework works. Uh, Understanding like how to think in Remix, all of that stuff. And then I'm like, hey, you know what? Now I'm comfortable enough that I can put Remix to production. And there's a lot of things, yeah. For example, let's open up X. I recently uh, so I don't know if you follow Rails World and all of that stuff, but DHH uh, very recently, like, and this is part of his this thing presentation, where he talks about how this, like, this is so true. This is the only reason why I was like, okay, I need to move away from Next and onto Remix because I started self-hosting Next on a Headsnode VPS. So if you don't know Headsnode, they have like really great products for VPS and stuff. So you can actually head into dedicated guild server finder or like server finder, or you can get into server auction. Depends. Let's actually go into server auction, right? Um, so let's say the cheapest one, right? So you're getting a full dedicated Intel Core i7 6700, 32 gigs of RAM, 1 TB of SSD at like 32 euros a month. And it's insane how much can you do on here. They say the traffic is unlimited, but I think it's like 2 or something terabytes. Get deploying has a good this thing on it, but it's heads now. Yeah, 20 to 60 terabytes a month. If you hit 60 terabytes a month, you should actually be paying more. Okay, screw it. If you're hitting like if you're crossing 1 TB, you should be paying more than 32 euros. So that's what the whole thing is, right? But the problem is you get like okay, FS and all. This is the German setup. They have a few servers in US regions too, but now you're also handling your own BPS. Uh, the funny thing is it's not that different. Uh, we're just like getting so off track here. So you can either use Poolify or you can use HTTP Caddy, right? So Poolify is great. It also works directly with Headsnow. So that's really nice. Uh, so essentially the idea with Poolify is this becomes your Vercel dashboard. Uh, and so what ends up happening is you deploy just like Vercel. So with all the CI/CD pipelines, wire Coolify to your Headsnow instance. And dude, trust me, if you're paying $20 a month for Vercel, a little bit of a bump, but you get insane specs. You get like a terabyte of SSD. You get, I think, 32 gigs. It's insane. And even with HTTP, oh, they need to carry server. Okay. Now, this is like, you don't have to install engines if you're doing this, but you can also use Caddy. Caddy is more manual. So if you're doing a bunch of stuff, I would recommend Caddy. But ideally, you should be using Coolify, and it's also open source. They do have a hosted version on here, which is what you pay for, and they have this. So you can just install this yourself, and there's a lot of tutorials uh, on how to set this up. And I really like Coolify. I have locked down a bunch more stuff, but dude, come on, like a dedicated server for 32 euros a month. Come on. And this one, like the CPU doesn't matter all that much, honestly. But like for 38 euros, an AMD Ryzen 5 3600, 6 cores on 12 threads, 64 gigs RAM, a terabyte of SSD in what, Finland? Throw Cloudflare proxy in front of it. Dude, you're done. Like, though I would suggest not hosting your database right here and use it somewhere else. For database, people hate me for this. I use PlanetScale, and they're like, "Oh, it's so expensive." It's $40 a month. Okay, it's understandable that it's a little on the higher end for most people, but this is so good. Like I forget that I have a database when I'm using PlanetScale. Also, they have like 10,000 connections on the paid plan. No other database gives you 10,000 connections. Uh, Arkham, you need to stick to English. I will just not respond to you in any other language. Okay, sorry. That was a huge sidetrack, but we are here now. Okay, wait, but also, why do I get a 500 is a better error? Actually, wait, 500 status codes HTTP. What should be, because 500 is a straight up server error. How do I say that I just actually I could just throw in a 406, like, yep, this is not acceptable. But I think 500 is actually I could be a 500, could be a 400. 400 makes sense. Uh, I don't know what goes on behind. Yeah, dude, like, uh, do I have yeah, I have Excalibur. So for Yak, right, my production app, by the way, you can just head into get Yak and you know, oh yeah, I need to update this. So this is how Yak works. Uh, you have a Cloudflare, you have Cloudflare proxy instance, right? Uh, this actually let's just call it a Cloudflare instance, right? This gives you proxy. This also hosts in all of my images in the CDN. Uh, I also use this for bot protection, and more importantly, the proxy, right? This is the major part of the entire thing. Without this, my resell bill would be like $1 billion. Uh, Now, for Yak specifically, while I'm on Next.js, I'm hosting it on Vercel. I don't like it, but I'm on the $20 a month plan. Now, what ends up happening is I also have a lot of budgeting and all of that put in place so that Cloudflare actually handles a good amount of stuff. Now, this Vercel instance is connected to PlanetScale, which I pay $40 a month for, right? So this is there. Now, I also have a Cloudflare Workers instance. This I pay $5 a month for because we are just starting out and this will scale with like how many requests I get, but I don't expect it to cross like $10 a month at a good scale, right? Uh, and now with this, you're gonna hate me for this, but I also have a Heroku instance. I think my Heroku instance is I think $9 or $10 a month. Let's call it $10 a month. And now what's happening is all of the requests come in via Cloudflare, right? They hit the Vercel instance. Vercel and PlanetScale work together. Heroku is a completely separate instance, which works with Heroku and this. And uh, these instances work together. These instances work together. And there is also all of the Shopify requests. So let's say webhooks and all, right? Some of the webhooks would hit, some of the webhooks would hit Vercel. Some of the webhooks would hit Cloudflare webhooks. So what's essentially happening is it gets a little annoying to explain to people like, hey, this is what's going on. Also, another thing that's going on. Oh yeah. Also, Cloudflare workers also looks into PlanetScale. So all of my database connection happening there. Now, PlanetScale doesn't directly work, even though I can like totally just do that. Here, I have Prisma Accelerate. This is usage based. We don't know how much it's gonna cost, but my baseline for this is gonna be $11 a month. Uh, once we onboard a few merchants. So not particularly worried. And now these instances work with each other. Uh, let's do this and let's do this. Okay. So this is essentially what my server setup looks like, right? And now you'll be like, Coach D, well, this is like extremely complicated, right? Because you have a bunch of stuff going here, you have a bunch of stuff going there. And yes, it is. Uh, but what we're moving towards, once I move into, so this is my next stack. Let's call it Next.js, right? Let's also make this a little bigger. For Remix, this is what I'm doing. I'm not moving away from Planet Scale because Planet Scale is just super necessary. Without Planet Scale, I cannot function. The Heroku instance is going to be swapped out with a Raspberry Pi. This is a one-off $100 investment, but I already have it. Okay. Uh, then this Vercel instance becomes a Hetzner instance. This I think is about like what, another $40 a month. And then we also have Cloudflare. So you almost always want to have Cloudflare in the front because that just like simplifies everything. Great level of caching, all of that stuff is going on here. And so now what's going to happen is uh, a request comes in from anywhere. So this is mostly from the merchant, right? They hit Hetzner. Hetzner works with PlanetScale, right? My Raspberry Pi instance also connects to PlanetScale, but this is cached in a way where it doesn't need as many connections, right? And so when something from Shopify comes in, uh, so all of the Shopify webhooks that come in, now they hit Hetzner directly, right? And so now what ends up happening is you're going from left to right. Ideally, I would not be using PlanetScale either. If I were to be like, hey, you know what, I need to like really like push it through, I can drop PlanetScale completely. But the reason why I'm using PlanetScale is because I am not taking that technical risk of managing my own database. Migrations, uh, data security, all of that stuff, $40 a month is like cheap. Like it's nothing. And so what's going to end up happening is uh, this just works out so beautifully because I also have this instance running in the background where I'm testing a bunch of the stuff out. But this is what's going to be on production tomorrow. Like, in fact, it's already on production, uh, right? But this is what's going to be production in the future. So you can already see like how much uh, of my stuff like goes low when I'm moving over to Remix. The biggest issue of like this entire complication is Vercel for me. I'm not saying that Vercel is bad or that Vercel doesn't work. I'm just saying that now here's the entire explanation for all of this, right? I have to use a Cloudflare service so that I can save myself from unnecessary attacks, and I can block a bunch of stores. Shopify webhooks for certain stores, I can just block it at this level, so my database is then hit, and workers are so cheap that I don't have to worry about it. With Cell, I'm worried about making too many function calls. So I have to drop a bunch of stuff to Cloudflare workers and I have to drop a bunch of stuff to Heroku, right? So that this is mostly a background server. Prisma Accelerate is now required because this being a serverless environment, if let's say 5,000 merchants are open and I get 5,000 webhooks, I have now used up all of the 10,000 connections on planet scale. Like hypothetically, it's not going to happen all at once at any given point of time. I need a database connection pooler and a caching service to kind of help me with all of that. So that's additional cost. Cloudflare workers, so I can actually handle a lot of webhooks without having to worry about a lot of stuff, plus blocking at this level. The moment I move over to self-hosted instances, with PlanetScale being the only one uh, where it's not self-hosted, in fact, uh, at some point, I might introduce Prisma Accelerate too, because it's a really great service. And if I see that uh, Hetzner's instances are too far away, this connection might become this, right? Now it depends on the distance of like how well PlanScale is. Like I wouldn't mind if a function runs under 100 milliseconds, but if it's more than that, it's all going to Prisma Accelerate. So it's just like while I'm paying a little more for Hetzner, I'm paying like double. I am also saving a lot of money here. This is like what 40, 50, 60, 71, 81, uh, 86, right? And this is 40, 80, 91, which is optional. So this is completely optional. So this is like 80 plus 11, right? And so this is initially, while this might actually seem like super expensive, which it is, which is why I'm still like, I'd rather do the left one first. Once I cross like what, 100 merchants, immediately move here. And in fact, this move is happening next year anyways. In like Q1, I'll migrate the entire stack over to Redux. And this would like seemingly make this more scalable. Here, I don't even think with 100 merchants I can maintain this. I know Vercel is going to go up in cost. I know Cloudflare Workers is going to go up in cost. I should use this, yeah. Vercel goes up in cost. Cloudflare Workers goes up in cost. Heroku again would go up in cost because then I need a lot of threads on this. Accelerate, of course, will go up in cost. PlanScale mostly is going to stay the same, but it might go up in cost. Here, I can have like what, 1,000 merchants? And in this instance, PlanScale goes up. I might get another Raspberry Pi, but that's about it. So, and plus this is way less complicated. So even if like I do end up paying 91 bucks for it, I'd rather do this than do this. But the irritating part is a lot of people think self-hosting is very difficult, so they get into this trap when this is just straight up available. We have detoured so much. We have detoured so much on this. So uh, I hope it explains like where my head is at, because this is my production stack. Nah, dude, all good. Like I love explaining all of this stuff, uh, which is why I do what I do, I guess. But yeah, it's it's an irritation at times when I uh kind of people like really go through and understand like, hey, why this actually is really nice. Like I'd rather just do this. Like I don't even mind paying more than do this. Because think about this. Each of these is no, not this. Each of these is 1 1 1 3 repos. This is 2 repos. It like greatly simplifies the entire thing. So yeah, that's there. Okay, now back to building wishlist apps. Actually, on Vercel, what is the pricing? Because I know it's gonna be like 500 fucking times markup. Yada yada yada. Okay, on Pro, you have a terabyte a month of this thing. Doesn't matter. Like it's a lot. Not gonna hit that. Not gonna hit that. We don't do edge requests, so this means nothing to me. Means nothing and means nothing. See, this means a lot to me. I know 1 million invocations isn't a lot for my use case. Uh, so I'm gonna have to move on. And then like 60 cents. My estimated resale bill would be like $50, $60 a month, easily at like 60 cents a million. And I'm talking about at scale, not like day one. Day one, I'm like under 100,000 calls. I can like actually run it on the free plan, but you're not supposed to be running production stuff on the free plan. So we're kind of moving over to the paid plan almost immediately. Edge data, I don't use any of this. This I use a lot. This is almost the reason why I liked it in the first place. But yeah, I wish we had like more, at least like two concurrent builds. So you could have a dev and a production one running at the same time. Remote cache, it was nice, but then it's way too much hassle to configure. So I'm just like, not happening. See, this is an irritation one because I can just, what was the observability PM2 APS? What was the, oh yeah, PM2. So you can just run PM2 for all of the observability stuff. Uh, there has to be a, oh yeah. And so you get like proper stuff running in, right? And oh god, this is turning so much into a stack thing. Uh, and then I think it's Axiom.co. Yeah. And then you can use Axiom for all of your logging, right? And so what happens in Axiom is your free plan has half a terabyte of ingest included every goddamn month. Uh, and again, like I'll hop on the paid plan as soon as we hit production. So that's like another cost, but this is something that stays stagnant, right? So this also happens. Uh, and so this for all of your logging, all of that stuff. And then you also have Sentry. God, there's like so many services you have to use to put one thing to production. This is for finding out any issues, but initially I'm not in the mood to ship it, even though people are like, dude, why? And I'm like, my code just works. But if it breaks, it breaks. Like if I have people reporting only, then I'll look into it. So that's also another thing. Uh, Also, another thing that you should really know about is Mantle. At first, I was like, eh. And then I used it and I was like, okay, that's actually really nice. So here's the thing. I don't use their pricing. It's really good. I don't use their hosted billing, but again, really good. Analytics, love it. Customer management, I have my own. But when I opened up and looked at it, I was like, this is really good. We don't run affiliate programs, but it's a great thing to have, right? And I'm sure like a lot of people would love to have it. And then it integrates with a whole lot of stuff, like with your Tidbit, Slack notifications, all of that stuff. You could even run webhooks and throw it on Discord, which is what I prefer. But the main one is reports and analytics. Even though Mantle is more than just a reports and analytics platform, this is the strongest thing. Which is why whenever I'm talking about it internally, I'm like, hey, it's actually an analytics platform. But so essentially, that's where we are at. And that's my actual production stack. It's a lot, I know, but uh, at any given point of time, you want to be able to open up and see what's happening across the board, across every single thing. And it takes a lot of effort. Putting things to production isn't easy. And a lot of beginners make that mistake that, hey, I learned how to build a Shopify app and I'm just going to throw things and see how it works out. Bad idea. You like, even if you're using like Excel, like, even if you're in this phase, right? Even if you're like, hey, this is what works for me, for most parts, your apps would look like this. It would be a Vercel instance, and you are mostly going to use Superbase because that's a database that's free. And you might just, I don't know, put Cloudflare in front of it. But we just put Cloudflare proxy in front of everything. Do not think twice about it, right? For most people, their stacks look like this, where it's like all of the requests come in here, these things talk, and this is happening. Like, this is fine too. This is not a problem. This is a-okay. But then the thing is, when you're running background jobs, when you're like, hey, I need to sync through like 100 different things, and your use case is complicated enough, like the Wishlist app that we're building, this stack is what it's gonna look like because it's not a lot, right? It's not that complicated. Don't make things complicated when they're not supposed to be. But for Yak, I need to do all of this. Why? Because I need a background server. Why? Because I'll be following with like 100,000 webhooks or 200,000 or 500,000 webhooks a month. I need to run my own functions on Vercel. I need to have a database connection pooler because all of those 500,000 connections are going to be trying to connect to the database, right? And then I need to have like a reliable database. So this gets complicated. And for me, going from this to this is major simplification, right? Where it's like this Raspberry Pi is essentially me hosting on bare metal. The only great thing is this Raspberry Pi never has to talk to this. Let's make it red. It never has to talk to this. It never has to talk to this. It never has to talk to this. And it surely as hell doesn't need to talk to this, right? Because these are like single requests that I'm making every few minutes. So that's there. Uh, is it all complicated? Yes, but so is the app, and that's why a lot of people can't really build it. There's a few elements on both ends that I'm excluding on purpose. Uh, so that's there too, right? But I hope this gives you an idea, and that's why when I tell people that, hey, Uni developers shouldn't be building e-commerce apps, this is why. Because you need to truly understand what's going on. And sometimes, like 6 months ago, I was testing out an app. I've deployed this. This is a-okay. Instead of Superbase, I had PlanetScale in here because I love PlanetScale. But this is exactly what I deployed. In fact, I've even deployed without a database because you can modify all of my repositories to only run on a Vercel instance and have everything run on meta fields or meta objects. And so it slows down a little because you're pulling up a new session token every single time, but that's fine too. And what ends up happening is you need to decide what your requirement is. And that's the entire thing. I know it may seem like super complicated. In fact, in my head, this is very simple. I don't find this complicated at all. This is just like, oh yeah, this is a normal thing that's happening to me. But it's just standard stuff. But a lot of people, they would just be like, oh God, dude, whole sleep, you're overcomplicated. I'm like, no, no, no. It's the simplest version. Because there's like so much happening in the background. I need to keep so many things up to date. Yeah. Like here is my desktop. You have a background server, you have a Yuck folder, you have the next app, then you have the website, and then there's a few folders inside of it. Like there's a lot that's happening in the background. So that's also there. Also, it's time. So I should probably dip because it's like 11:15. I have a few calls, but uh, yeah, I hope that makes sense with the entire thing. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'll see. I might put this thing to pause for a good while, honestly, purely because there's so much happening in the background, I cannot keep up. Like, I'm genuinely struggling at times. Uh, oh, it's just, I'm wrong. Sorry, I'm just start the erase. Okay. So yeah, like I'm genuinely struggling in the background. In fact, I'm going to be announcing a bunch of major changes tomorrow with like what projects I'm working on. Uh, the boilerplates aren't going away. Like obviously that is something that I cannot shut down because I use and I use it almost every other day, every single day actually. Um, but yeah, with like Yak coming out, there's so much happening. Uh, in fact, I would really appreciate if you guys check out Yak uh, once it's out. It's available on getyak.com. Uh, and yeah, a bunch of stuff is going up. I'll be pushing up a lot of things in the next 2 days with a lot of stuff. So yeah, that's that. Right, I'm gonna like fix my face because I look like I haven't slept in 6 months, and I genuinely have. But yeah, I hope you guys like the entire detour because we detoured from hey, I don't think we did anything with the wishlist app at all. But yeah, that's the yeah, sure thing, mate. All right, take care, everyone, and I'll see you guys on Twitter. Yeah, I'll see you guys on Twitter.